And welcome back to another edition of Official Word Sports. I'm Vince, and I'm here with my co-host Stevie D. Stevie D, all right, we're starting to fine-tune some things, and I notice as I look at you over there, there's no Klecko jersey, there's no Revis jersey, there's no Gastineau jersey. You are live at the podium or in the media room there in East Meadowlands, New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm in Florham Park, actually, the Atlantic Health Facility.
Ah, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay, and that's located where?
In Florham Park, New Jersey.
Oh, in New Jersey. Just want to make sure that all of our listeners know. I just wanted to make sure that anybody tuning into the podcast was aware that is in New Jersey.
It's a training facility. That's all it is. It's a training facility. They got to break on their taxes.
Oh, is it? Okay. Okay, not really showing homage or love to the fans in New York, but actually going across the way, actually into another state.
That's how we are. I mean,
might as well be another country, right? You talk about the Bills playing in Canada. You play in New Jersey. You train in New Jersey. The cellular bill that the team gets goes to New Jersey.
I don't like the way this podcast is starting. I'm just going to throw that out there. I just don't like the way it started. The Jets are EOE. We like to employ through multiple states, Jersey was really struggling, and so the big brother New York says, "We'll help you out, Jersey. We'll help you out."
Ah, well played, sir. Well played. All right.
I don't like to be thinking that quick on the game, but I think I did pretty good. But before we really get started, I do want to wish my lovely wife a happy 20th wedding anniversary. We'll be celebrating that tomorrow. So
very nice, Mrs. D. Congratulations of putting up with Take Flight and the New York Jets for 20 plus years. I don't know how you did it, and
she hates him. She hates him. She had no problem with the Jets until she married me, and then I'm a bear on Sunday.
Wayne Corbett fan?
Huge. Well, Wayne went to the same college she went to at Hofstra, so that's her connection there. And but I ruined it.
That's it.
It's bad when you have to buy me the little foam footballs that I can throw and chuck at the TV because she was afraid I was going to break some. So just take the foam footballs and throw them. So. I'm a bear.
Now that's your problem. I didn't bequeath that to you. That rage. You had that rage.
Yeah.
Maybe I got it from you.
You could have, yeah. Because I have rage. I have rage when it comes to the Jets.
Oh, I do. I do. I was very. See, that's why it's so good that we can communicate on Sundays, especially in trying times, and we know how to communicate, right? Yeah. So many people want to get at you. They want to send a message to you. They want to call you during a game. That's not appropriate, right? You just don't. You got to leave well enough alone.
Oh, yeah.
But, we have that, that subtle, you okay?
Yeah, yes, we do. We got that connection for sure.
And then it comes back. Yes.
Well, what do we text? The doctor is in. If you need to talk to the doctor, right? We send those messages back and forth. But in our chat session with JB and Jay, right? It's interesting that they can chat during the game, but like when I'm watching the game and I can't respond to all that while my team is playing, but they can respond and do certain things. And I know you go radio silent when the Buffalo Bills are playing. I mean, it's one thing if it's a blowout, and then it's not a big deal. You can text, but when it's a game, oh yeah, I don't want any part of it when it's a game.
There's only a couple of people I will ever acknowledge, and you're one of them. And that circle, when you talk about a small circle, that circle is very. Hey, there's Terry. Hey Terry, how are you? Oh, and Dana Brown is in the house. Yo, Dana. Right. But that circle is really small because most people say the wrong thing. It's not the right time to say the wrong thing.
That's why with the Jaguar game, we were having some good teasing going back and forth. But when halftime was coming to an end, I says, "I'm done. I'll talk to you later," right? Because that was it. We had our fun banter back and forth. You busting on the Jets, me busting on what was going on in that first half. And but once halftime was over, you were in a dogfight, and I knew you were in a dogfight. So that's when I had a what's that, cease and desist or whatever it's called?
Cease and desist. That's right.
I had to let it go.
Yeah, you remember we used to share the rules of being a fan.
Oh yeah.
I used to have it up in the office.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So people could, and maybe we should resurrect that. Maybe put it on the website, make it available for people to download and to read, right? And maybe we'll put some type of entry test into the podcast, right? If you want to come onto the podcast like Terry or Dana have, they have to acknowledge that they read the rules of being a fan, right? Nothing against Terry or Dana. No, nothing. I'm just using as an example, right? There are certain rules, things that you have to abide by. You just have to, because things can go bad. Things can go real bad. And especially, do not ever say it's just a game. All right.
What is up with that?
I've waited, right? There's 17 weeks. I've waited 35 weeks. For a 17-week period, I do not want to hear it is just a game, right? No, won't hear it. You'll get banned, booted, whatever it takes. You're done, gone. So yeah, maybe we'll throw that out there. Let the fans have to read what are part of rules of being a fan, right? Again, your team playing in a different state and trying to take on the name of another state. I have to think about this. I have to, Dana, I will make sure that it is available and accessible.
We got to get those out there because they're really good rules.
There are. Yeah, I see.
Terry. Thank you, Terry.
I see it. But there are good rules, right? And you will see my justification for one thing in there. When you try to buy my team.
hey, remember, my team actually moved to a different state, and technically, by definition, I could have left. I could have left, but I didn't. That's how loyal I am.
Technically, you should be a Bills fan. The state that you live in, well, the Bills are the only football team in New York State. And while we're talking about...
You have to ride or die no matter what I was born into, and I was born into this. I didn't have a choice. You ride or die into the end. Unlike my father, who jumped ship and has no loyalty to the NYJ anymore. He went to the NYG. And so with that, I have loyalty all the way to the end. Yes, I have survived those thin years. So man. I stayed loyal.
So Stevie D, let's get into week 12. Interesting week around the league.
Week 12.
You know what I'm going to tell you right now is that the NFL has finally achieved what it's been looking for all this time. That's parity.
It sure looked like it didn't look like that in the AFC. I didn't think it was going to be so much of that this year, right?
Yeah, and that's what we're getting, right? It doesn't matter if it's in the AFC or the NFC. It used to be the haves and the have-nots, right? We still have our have-nots with the Lions. No disrespect, but with your Jets, right? The Jaguars. You're going to have a few teams that are there at the bottom. But when you look at, you have a team that's 4-6. Still competing for a playoff spot, right? When they have the playoff teams, and then they have the
wild card, and then
in the hunt, right? How am I seeing a team that's 4-6 in the hunt, right?
Hey, we're right outside of in the hunt at 3-8. You never know.
You're still in.
Like the Eagles on Sunday, we could be 4-8. Come on.
Ooh, is it the Eagles this week?
Yeah.
So that is your 17th game.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that ought to be interesting. Obviously, Jay is a no-show to represent his Fly Eagle Fly I mean, the floor is all yours. Instead of talking about the Bills, the floor is yours. I didn't realize it was Eagle Week.
Yeah, it's Eagle Week, and unfortunately for the Jets, I have to give a little bit of history there. Is the Jets have never ever beaten the Eagles ever in their history. Yeah.
Seriously,
7-1 or something like that, or are we 0-11? So yeah, that's the only team that Jets have never beaten in the NFL.
Seriously,
yeah. That's for you, Jay. That's the only thing I'm going to say. But it's going to end. It's going to end because the Jets' dominant defense showed up last week against the offensive powerhouse that we call the Houston Texans. We look like world beaters on defense this week. So
that game was so bad. I did flip over at times to yours. Just to see
honestly, this is what really happened. Tyrod Taylor was on fire the first 2 drives of the game. Right? They went up and down, scored. Then all of a sudden, the Jets' pass rush kind of got in his face. We're sacking him. And I think the offensive coordinator, number one, is not used to scoring 14 points on 2 drives. And I think he got so nervous that their play calling and the style of plays were totally different the rest of the game. And they couldn't do a thing.
And that first drive,
watching it.
Was that first drive when he jumped and dove into the end zone?
I don't remember if that was the first.
I know Tyrod went airborne. I was like, oh, look at this.
Yeah, it had to be the first drive. It had to be the first drive because it was the first drive. And I'm watching it. I'm like, you got to be kidding. We're going to do this again? Like the 6th straight week? And the second drive, boom, right down the field and score. And I was just like, what in the world? And then they tried the screen pass. And Jonathan Franklin Myers jumps and catches it and changes the game. And next thing I know, we got a field goal on that one. Next drive, pass rush gets in, and then it just stopped. Whatever they did in the first 2 drives, they were so shaken up by that it was it was weird. It's like, dude, you had 2 drives. We didn't stop you, and all of a sudden you change your game plan and.
Now, Stevie D, you're really high. Yeah, excited. You did. But if memory serves me correct, there was a gentleman by the name of Mark Sanchez, infamous for the butt fumble.
The anniversary, we just passed.
And now we have Zach Wilson, infamous for, is it the butt interception? Is it the butt?
No, get out of here. It was a toss that him and his running back miscommunicated.
Sure, he's running that way.
That is not even remotely. You're trying to start something that's not even remotely close. All right.
But we don't have.
I got to go down in history with the butt fumble every year. I got to remember. It brings up Thanksgiving. Oh.
Yeah, we don't have the video. I swear we're gonna have that video next week. We are bringing that because I want clarity to that. Because you know how they say go back to the tape? Well, not only will we be able to go back to the tape on the video because of our podcast being taped and recorded, I'm going to be able to have you say, what are you talking about? And we're going to look at that side by side.
It's not even close.
Defining moment.
That was that. It wasn't down on the ground. I mean, come on. Really? Oh, God.
I'll help you out here. It was Carson Wentz-esque. Fair enough?
No, I don't think it's remotely close to what Carson Wentz has done. He was running with the ball. He was running to scramble. And then when he was in his motion to do that, Ty Johnson thought he was running with the football and started setting up a block. Didn't realize his quarterback was going to pitch it. It wasn't Carson Wentz at all. Not even.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you call spin. Steve D is effectively.
You cannot compare the two. Carson Wentz in the end zone, falling down, decides to throw the ball in the air. Come on now. I mean, seriously. Now you're just trying to bust my chops. Not even close.
It's close. Perfect. We're going to put a poll up. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have the 2 videos. We're going to have 3 videos. Mark Sanchez, the butt fumble. Carson Wentz, and I don't know if they've named that play. Just, and then we're going to have the Zach Wilson back,
Not even close.
but in an interception.
Your quarterback's fumbling is much worse than what Zach Wilson did in that game. Not even close. The way your quarterback can't even hold on.
You're attacking Josh Allen?
Yes, with his 9,000 fumbles every time he tries to run with the football.
Has he had a fumble this year?
Yes, he has. Why? Because he's on my fantasy football team. So
he has. And he's got 10 interceptions this year, which is ridiculous. But
same as Zach Wilson. Interesting.
Yeah, he's got 10. But
as many touchdowns and everything.
So else. What do you think about Zach's performance though overall? Coming back off
he was a lot of rust. He started off really bad. He's got his own move now. So it was shaky to start with. Like he was firing passes 5 yards down the field. He's throwing it like 95 miles an hour. It's like, dude, you can chill out, man. What are you doing? So he did enough to pull a win out against a very bad Houston Texas team.
Right.
I didn't see anything in that game that said to me he improved, but he also sat on the bench for 4 weeks. So the rookie quarterback sitting for 4 weeks, shaking off some rust. We'll see. We'll see how it goes against the Eagles.
What did you see from the offensive play calling? Because that's something that we've talked about over the last few weeks, especially with Mike White and Flacco. And what did you see?
I thought the play calling was fine. I thought the running game, they rushed for over 4 yards a carry. They rushed for 160. They took a lot of pressure off Zach Wilson that way. They didn't push the ball downfield a lot. So he didn't really kind of go over the top. We were missing Corey Davis. Denzel Mims he doesn't play that much, but he's still a threat, I think, that the Jets underutilized with Denzel Mims. So we were a little in the wide receiver core, we were a little banged up. He did do some dumps. Michael Carter's a big weapon out of the backfield. We didn't have him. Ty Johnson made
he's a IR, right?
He is high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
But this kid Walter, we signed off our practice squad. He did really well. He rushed really well, really hard. But again, it's against the Houston Texans defense, so it's like you take a little bit of that with the running game. But it was I wasn't impressed by Zach Wilson, but at the end of the day, he made enough plays to get us down the field and put us in give us 21 points. Should have been 24 if our kicker can kick a field goal. But I thought the story of the game was our defensive line. The defensive line showed up. They got the pressure. It helped the secondary. Jets won the football game. Only gave up 202 yards passing. I think it was like 260 yards of total offense. So they really, from a defensive side, did their job. But it started with the front four getting that pressure. They had 5 sacks. They were in Tyrod Taylor's face all game long, outside the first 2 drives. Again, you're a 2-8 team facing another 2-8 team, right? It's the battle of the bad, and the Jets play better.
So
now, what was interesting, let me say, what was interesting is that they came off the Titans game, the Texans, and looked like world beaters, right? And then you go against, right? You play up against your competition.
Well, that's the whole parity conversation that we started with, right? Not to say that the Texans are in that middle group, but you can play with that middle group. But again, when you look at the Titans, no Derrick Henry, no H.A. Brown, no Julio Jones, and I swear Ryan Tannehill is overrated. I will say this until I'm blue in the face. He is overrated. He can't carry that team, and
I think the real football people know
look who has joined the pack.
Mr. Sullivan. All right, buddy.
Haven't seen that name in a while. How you doing? How you doing? So yeah, I look at the Ryan Tannehill as just being overrated, being a very fortunate person to have a Derrick Henry back there.
Sure.
We'll see.
We all know, football people know who Ryan Tannehill is. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate that.
Well, he's a guy that has a hot wife, right? That's his NFL claim to fame. Outside of that, he is nothing but a handoff left, handoff right, and then do a play action rollout, and everybody's come up to bite on Derrick Henry. And now I have, throwing to a tight end over the middle, maybe A.J. Brown for a 10 to 15-yard pass and let them go to work. I'm not a Tannehill fan. I'm just not. Carson, and I said Carson Wentz 2.0, right? If you hold them up side by side, same thing. Except for I will give Tannehill credit that he does not make dumb decisions like Carson Wentz. I'm trying to help you.
I got nothing for you, Jay, on that one because I've seen some bad interceptions. We've seen the butt fumble, but your interceptions, man, it's out there. That game a couple of weeks ago, I don't know what he was doing with those 2 interceptions. I got nothing for you, Carson. Sorry.
Unfortunately, Jonathan Taylor just ran wild against my Bills. And thus, Carson Wentz didn't really need to throw the football. So I was not privy to be able to see the excellence that is Carson Wentz, right? It was just Jonathan Taylor left, Jonathan Taylor right. Stevie D, any other parting words you'd like to say to Jay? Yeah, I'm trying to stir this pot. We have the fantasy battle. Now you guys have your 2 teams going at it.
You know what's interesting? I really don't crap talk. I really don't. I'm not into that because it always bites me in the butt. So I try not to. Like on the fantasy football, Jay opened that wound. So I had to throw it back to him because he started in week 1, talking all his junk. So when it came around and all of a sudden this team can't win a game and I beat him handily 2 straight games and then take over the division, I had to let him know.
Would you say that your team is the premier team in the fantasy league?
No. No. No.
Who's better? You're in first place, right?
I am in first place, but I got humbled very quickly. I know that's where you're going. My team thought they were on a bye week.
Yes, they did. It was like the Bills-Jags game, right?
Well, I had my running back Swift. He gets hurt on Thanksgiving in the first quarter, so that's not good, right? So I don't know if he would have gotten the 19 points that he said he was going to get, but when you get 3 points out of your running back, that's never a good thing. And then
that's been my season. What are you talking about?
Right, I'm just saying, I lost. It just they didn't show up.
Did you like the great moves that the GM made Monday afternoon?
No, what did you do?
So we picked up Everett, the tight end for the
son of a gun. I can't believe it.
Gerald Everett coming through because we were down.
And he gets a touchdown in the first quarter. I'm like, you got to be kidding me,
ladies and gentlemen. So Kelsey, top tight end, who has done nothing for us. Thanks, JB. He was on a bye week, and I'm like, I'm down. I have no kicker, and I have no tight end. What do I do? And plus, everybody's already played, so I have to go through and look what's there. Gerald Everett. 5.2 points per game. I'll take it. If you can just get me some touchdown.
95 points. What did he get you? 11, 12?
Yeah, something like that. Enough to secure the victory. That's what's most important. So now, we can hold our head high, right? It's been a bad season. We're going to finish in last place. We will hopefully get the number 1 draft pick next year. There's some things that we're going to do. We had a very much of an underachieving, underperforming team. And we know that a shakeup is coming. The GM could lose his job, right? This something like this could happen when you have expectations that are so high and you just come out there and you underachieve. No, there's going to be a shakeup coming. Could be like Matt Nagy, right? Right now, I'm trying to deflect any of the comments that are coming through and let everybody know that next year this team will be better. I guarantee it. So, I'm giving you – that's right. I'm giving you the guarantee. But it's nice. We popped some champagne after the game Monday night.
Is that your exhibition game?
It was. It was our fantasy exhibition game bowl. Yeah, guys were celebrating. It was a tough morning on Tuesday morning. Let me just say that.
Oh, it was a tough day because let me tell you something. After that game, we went in the clubhouse and I threw some chairs. I did my best Bobby Knight impression. I threw in some chairs, did some chokeholds. I told people, let's go. Enough of this. Are you kidding me? We lost to the Detroit Lions. Come on.
And that's what we put. We felt like, we were the Detroit Lions winning our first game. So, but moving away from fantasy, Stevie D, I had a game on Thanksgiving that seems like it was months and months and months ago, right? It's crazy how it's just been a week, but just those few days between Thursday and Sunday makes all the world a difference. It was so long ago, and it was refreshing not to have to worry about anything on Sunday or on Monday, and nice to be able to get that victory. But it came at a huge cost, and I'm concerned, right? I am very much concerned because Tre'Davious White, for those of you who don't know, Tre'Davious White tore his MCL, or his ACL. I'm sorry,
ACL.
tore his ACL, and is done for the year. And it leaves a huge void, right? You never want to say that one player makes the difference, right? And I know that there's going to be, whether it be Dane Jackson or somebody else. Speaking of that, before I segue or before I go on, let me just quick segue. What are you doing poaching my players off of my squad? Yeah, I'm looking at you. Yeah,
and let me tell you something. He's a good one.
He is.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah.
So Wild Goose also.
But you got to understand something. We had a poach because when you lose 8 corners to injury, you're scouring everywhere to go find somebody.
But you're not going anywhere. Why take my guy? Go take the Bucks.
We're building for the future, and we feel like young man has got a future, and he's going to get a shot here with the NYJ, baby. I can't help it.
And I need him now. I need him.
Too bad. You should have put him on the roster.
Well, he wasn't ready for the roster.
Well, he's not ready for the roster.
He's going to have to be on your roster, though. Because
he is on the roster.
Yeah.
He's not really playing yet, though. He's like that emergency at the very end. So he's like 12th on the depth chart, and we already lost 8. So he's a play away.
But back to Trey. When you lose a key member like that, it changes everything, right? The way that you have functionally played defense that has been great all year long, right? Trey has in his play this year during man coverage, there's nothing, right? He has not given up anything. If you look at the plays where you've seen some of the catches, it's coming when they have like some sort of zone defense, and he's covering an area of the field. But mano a mano, going up against the top wide receivers on the other side, he has shut him down. What that means is that you're going to need to get some safety help now, right? Instead of Poyer and Hyde being able to kind of freelance and do their thing that has made them the top safety tandem. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to have to start rolling coverage, right? And that's going to hurt in the support. It's going to hurt with tight end coverage. It's going to hurt with a lot of different things, especially if you're trying to play that cover too. It's very concerning for the defense, and I think it's going to put a higher impetus on Josh Allen and Brian Dable to do the right thing out there, right? You can't fool around now at this point. They're going to have to be more focused and more direct in the play calling and the execution. You talk about Stevie D when Zach came back. He's trying to throw fastballs, right? 2-seam balls to these players. Josh does the same thing. He did that in his first couple of years, and they were able to calm that down, right? More touch, greater accuracy, right? Now, all of a sudden, you get these fastballs back, right? For a guy that's 7 yards away, right? The ball goes flying through his hands. It leads to those tipped interceptions or those missed opportunities on crucial conversions. So Josh has definitely got to focus in a little bit more. And then we have to figure out the running game, because I do believe that we're going to, in periods of time, we're going to need to control that clock, right? And see, Zach Moss was he was scratched, for this last game. So you had Singletary and Matt Breida, and
Breida's looking pretty good.
Yes, he is. He definitely brings the speed that we were looking for out of the backfield. We just don't have, and maybe it is Singletary, but in my mind, the traditional type of back, the bigger back, right? I don't want to go too big of a back, maybe like a Campbell, something like that. But if you look at like a Leonard Fournette down in Tampa, right? Somebody that you can grind out those 3 or 4 yards, and keep moving those chains 3 or 4, and then bounce it outside, and then get it out there. So it'll be interesting.
Does White shadow the field, or does he just stay on one side of the field?
For the most
is
part,
he like a Revis that can go left, right, slot, or is he just one side?
Well, he doesn't. He never plays inside the slot. For the most part, he is your outside corner, whether it's man or whether it's zone. You will see him though from time to time lock in with the number one wide receiver. So if that number one wide receiver decides to move from the X position and starts going, somewhere around, occasionally you'll see Trey, but more often than not, he's got that hash to the outside. We'll see. We'll see what the guys can do. I'm scared. I'll be honest with you. I am truly scared.
Good football teams have lost players and still gone on to accomplish really great things. So,
but
maybe
it depends who you lose. It depends who you lose.
Sure, but you may rally, like you said. You got good safeties.
We do,
right? So, Leslie Frazier is a top-notch defensive coordinator. I'm sure he'll scheme it up, and I'm not saying White won't be missed, but sometimes you can rally around that loss and all of a sudden still accomplish great things, even though you lost White, right?
Sure.
Whether it's the defense making that adjustment or your offense stepping up and doing better things and to make up for the loss of White. It's huge. I still like the Buffalo Bills in the AFC. I still haven't seen enough out of the Chiefs to think that they fixed their offensive problems. Their defense has been playing much better. I'll give them that, but they haven't shown me on the offensive side of the ball against a good football team that they can really, be the Chiefs of old. So I'm not sold on them. The Ravens, I'm not sold as Ravens as the number one seed.
Right? I'm not either.
Titans without Derrick Henry, Tannehill playoffs. I'm not overly concerned there. I think Buffalo went through their stretch. I think they're going to turn around. They better turn around Josh Allen because you're my fantasy quarterback and I need them touchdown pass.
Well, you're forgetting a team that is somehow. Are they overachieving?
Oh, New England.
Yeah. Is it smoke and mirrors? Is it the hoodie? You have to respect it. You have to respect it. Not a fan, obviously.
When you got New England again? When you got New England again?
On Monday.
Ooh. Oh, this is New England week for you.
Yes, it is.
Well, I think this is going to be a good game. We'll see if New England's ready to go.
Right? You just all of a sudden you're like, oh
yeah, that's a big game. That is a huge game.
It is. Right? This is for the
not just for the division, but it's that. Because you're getting late in the year. But really, I want to see if New England is legit because I'm trying to figure out. They beat Tennessee, but they didn't beat a fully healthy Tennessee team. Mac Jones doesn't complete passes past 20 yards downfield or 25 yards downfield or something like that. He just doesn't throw the ball. So I'm curious to see how Buffalo is going to play that defensively, knowing that there's such a short passing game. To see what they do there without, obviously White's not going to be there.
So New England has started to develop a little bit of a running game, which they're going to focus in on. To your point, I'm not afraid of Mac Jones. I am truly not afraid of Mac Jones. But what does concern me is the turnovers. Buffalo has got to limit the turnovers. And if you win the turnover battle, right, which is the old cliche for football because everybody says it, but it's true, right? If you win the turnover battle, you got the game. The good thing is at home, right? Weather will be interesting. They're expecting some flurries, so that should be good. But at the end of the day, I want a blowout, right? But I want to beat them. I don't want to win. I want to beat them because we have them in after that. I think we have them 2 weeks later, right? See, either 2 or 3 weeks later. It's very close. And I want that to be something that is in the forefront of their mind, right? That they went on Monday night, they play Buffalo, and that the only thing that you're going to hear out of them will be the excuses. Well, Buffalo played on Thursday night. Now they have 11 days off to prepare. Now they have this. Now because you got beat so bad, you're trying to figure out how to justify the beating that you got, right? This has nothing to do about the previous 20 years or the previous 19 years. It is about sending a message for that next one. Because if you win both of these, the division's done, right? You're completely done. And now you can continue and start to prepare as the postseason is right around the corner.
Look, I'm not a big believer of just because you blow them out, it's going to have an effect a couple weeks later. And it was nothing more true back in 2010 when the Jets got humiliated in New England 45-3 and then found themselves playing them in the divisional round in the playoffs like 3 to 4 weeks later, and they won that football game, right? So, that game plan is for that game.
Sure,
totally different out the window, right?
But Stevie, you can't tell me that the players don't have in the back of their mind this will never happen again, right?
I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying it's the same thing I've always heard in the baseball playoff games. Oh, how's this team going to come back after losing that marathon game in extra innings? And the next day they come back and they win 6-0, right?
Sure.
Athletes get paid, and they get paid to turn the page. Now, I'll use another baseball. Does it happen with the Minnesota Twins? No, they can't beat the Yankees in the playoffs. It's kind of wild how that works. They never can beat the Yankees in the playoffs, no matter who's the coach and who's the player, right? They just can't do it. I'm just saying that athletes can turn that page, and if you throw that butt whipping, I don't think it's going to be New England's head that week. That many weeks later, because if Mark Sanchez can pull it out after a 45-3 drubbing against the Patriots and look as bad as he can, and then have a game of his life and win in a playoff game in Foxborough on the road, miracles happen. Right? So I'm just saying it's. I don't put much stock on that. It may be a confidence booster for the Buffalo Bills. Maybe that's something that they need. But I think the players for New England won't look at it as like, oh my God, we just got killed by them, and it's going to happen again.
Well, I'm going to tell you, for 19 years, in 19 years, we had the one game where that's when we got Lawyer Malloy and Sam Adams, and we had that route. I think it was
that opening day route, like 30-0,
31 nothing, right? You had that, but after that, you being us Bills Mafia, Bills fans, we saw every which way you could possibly lose, right? We saw losing on fumbling kickoff returts, right?
That was the game I had on the tip of my tongue when you were going there.
Yeah,
I remember that game.
We did that. We blew halftime leads, double-digit leads. We lost in the last drive of the game. We lost in the first quarter of games, right? We lost every way imaginable. And what happens, and this is why I say it does linger, is because the media will make it linger. They absolutely will. And then next thing you know, you have the players that are talking about it. And then, we're getting up for this game. Well, why are you getting up for this game and not getting up for the previous game? Why didn't you get up for the Jags game? Right? To one of your earlier points, right? Everybody, these are guys that get paid and every team is good. But I need something to really set the tone to say that there is a new sheriff in town. There is somebody that is running the AFC East, whether it be for the next 2 years, 3 years while the other teams start to come up, or, maybe it is for a 10-year stretch. I would love that for a 10-year stretch. But it needs to happen. I want to see a resounding victory. Now, again, it doesn't have to be a Oakland Raiders playoff 51-3 game. I don't need to see that. But you give me a 30-10 victory, that to me, that is showing the dominance of the game on both sides of the ball. And plus it will show not only the players, not only the Bills fans, but it'll also show the other teams in the league that, in as much as, to your point, we miss Tre'Davious White, right? We were able to adjust, and that this is why this is the number one defense in the NFL. So we'll see what's coming up. Here we go. Isn't he a Kansas City guy?
No, after he made that joke about Zach Wilson, I don't know who he's rooting for.
I'm just wondering here. Aren't you a Kansas City guy? Really keeping a keen eye on the Patriots? Is something happening there? Have we fallen off of the Chiefs bandwagon? Is that what happened? Look at Terry. Terry's still in there, and we're still faithful. Yes, we are. Ed, we're gonna have to talk about this. Maybe I bring you on as a special guest to talk about your loyalties. Are they there in the 913, or are you headed out to the?
I'm going to help Ed here. I'm going to help him out. He's just a football guy. He just understands the team schedules and playoff implications, and he's just all in. So he's dialed in.
You're afraid of what he's going to do. Yeah, being neighbors, you're afraid. I think that's what it is. Because down here in Florida, I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, Patriot lover. So Stevie D, let's go around while we have some time here. Let's go around the NFL. Some crazy things happening. I'll start with the sad one. Otis Anderson Jr. What in the world? A dog bite causes your father, Otis Anderson, former NFL.
No. Oh, not the father. This is not Otis Anderson from the Giants.
Oh, I thought it was him.
No. They were very quick to say this is not Otis.
Well, okay. So let me retract that. Apologies there. But still, how do you shoot your son? How do you shoot your own son?
The girlfriend's dog bites senior.
Wait, hold on. Ed has come to clarify and to solidify his chiefdom.
Too late, Ed. We moved on segments. That's it. You're a Pats fan now. You're cemented as a Pats fan now.
No, but go ahead. You were talking about with Otis Anderson.
So the girlfriend dog bites Otis Anderson Sr., and then he gets upset. Obviously, there was an argument that ensued, and he decides to fatally shoot his son. So obviously there's got to be some mental things going on at that house, or maybe he was under some influence or something. I don't know. I just said, I know my son, we talked about it this morning, and he goes, and he was just so shaken. He goes, Dad, how can a father shoot his son? I said, bud, I don't know. There's more there than we'll probably ever find out. And it's just said all the way around, and just, say a prayer for Junior. Because it's just sad.
The first time I ever heard that, and I still don't get it, was when I was younger, much younger, and when Marvin Gaye was killed by his father. And I remember that, and I think in like elementary school or something like that. It was like, what? Right?
Dang, how old are you, man?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, this gray hair. I need to talk to Clyde to get the just for him. But it has always stuck with me. I just don't get that, right? I just don't get that, and that's very sad. So I wanted to bring that up, kind of speak to that a little bit. But you had mentioned something, Stevie D, and you were talking about the Rams. Are the Rams for real, right? And I don't know. I don't want to blame OBJ yet, right?
Oh, I don't think this is before he got there.
He doesn't help, right? He does not help. You obviously, Robert Woods got hurt, lost for the year. Didn't expect that, right? Because that happened the day after the trade or the free agent signing. It happened the day after. So you didn't expect it. You thought you were going to have Kupp, Woods, and Beckham, right? But they are just way off. They are with. They're not the team that we saw in the first 5 weeks of the year, for sure.
Matthew Stafford is not nowhere near the same quarterback.
No.
I don't know how much of the Rams that you've watched, and I've watched them a little bit, and the throws that Stafford, I'm just like, what is he doing? What is he thinking? He looks almost like he's lost in that offense all of a sudden, and he's kind of come down to reality because the first 5-6 weeks, I mean, he was in the conversation for MVP, right? And
Sure.
he was having that phenomenal year, and everybody was saying, "Oh, that's all McVay needed with Stafford, and look at this, and blah blah blah." And they're going to go 14-3, 15-2, right? And they were cemented as the best team in the NFC. Well, last 3 weeks, offense is not the same. Okay, you lost Robert Woods, okay, but it's nowhere near. And I can't say it's the loss of Robert Woods. I just think Stafford
Why
is just
not?
not the same quarterback. When I look at some of the passes he's making, he's just not the same quarterback. Like Robert Woods, when you're missing an open receiver, that has nothing to do with Robert Woods is not on the bench, that he's not playing. That you're just not making your throw to a wide open guy.
Sure.
Right?
When I look at
injuries
Robert,
happen though. Like injuries happen. I'm sorry to cut you off. I mean, injuries happen. If you can't survive a Robert Woods injury, I mean, come on. You got weapons all over the place. You still.
so I look at Beckham.
Pass. You're being too nice.
No, I look at Beckham, and everybody thinks that you can just instantly just add water when a guy goes to a team, and all of a sudden he fits right into the offense. He's going to be productive.
Well, he's injured.
Well, first of all, I think Beckham's overrated. Second of all, you're right. He's not fully healthy. Third of all, he's going into a system that has new terminology. McVay thinks he's the boy genius out there, so his play calling is so intricate, right? And Beckham's like looking back at Stafford. Stafford's looking back at Beckham like, I don't know, just go over there, right? But this is all pre-snap, right? Then when you have post-snap, Beckham is not healthy running his routes. He's not running the right routes, but he wants the ball, right? And by him wanting the ball, and he doesn't get it because he's not where he's supposed to be, or the timing is not what it's supposed to be, then you start creating that, a little bit of animosity inside, whether it be in the huddle, on the bench, in the locker room. And, this is all a byproduct, I do believe, of Robert Woods, right? Because now all that focus, what you used to have in New York or what you may have had early on in Cleveland, you're not getting that, right? So now that focus is going to the other side. It's making it difficult to get the Cooper Kupp. And that's why you see Gerald Everett getting all these points out of fantasy week. So I do think that there's a domino effect of that, CBD.
Look, I'm not going to say that it's not. But if you want to be considered, and everybody's put this label on Matthew Stafford, oh my God, now that he's out of Detroit, look how great he is. Mm-hmm. Okay. Quarterbacks lose weapons. It happens. Injuries happen. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be the dominant, top-notch quarterback.
Sure.
Right? Your offensive line is still giving you the protection. I mean, they're not the number one line in the league, but you're getting enough protection. You're just not making your throws. And just because you lose Robert Woods, stuff happens. Teams have injuries. Right?
Sure.
I'm not going to say that to give Stafford a pass because he lost Robert Woods. I just think it's all just coming back down to reality a little bit here with Matthew Stafford. I look at the Raiders.
And use Aaron Rodgers. You can use Aaron Rodgers, to that, right? Having one weapon, right, and then still making it happen. I mean, fair point. You absolutely could do that. Speaking of guys with weapons that are underachieving, Russ said, "Let me cook." I don't know what the hell he's making over there, because Russ and you have a conspiracy theory, but I'm going to tell you, it is not the finger. Jay wanted to say it's the finger. It's not the finger. His decision making is absolutely atrocious out there.
I love it. That's giving us the Jets a better draft pick, baby, in the first round. And you know what's funny, Jamal Adams? The Jets and the draft order are actually later first round pick than the Seahawks. The Seahawks are technically worse than the Jets in the draft order. I love it. Way to go, Jamal. Way to go, buddy. I love you, brother. I love you. I love you.
And he was having a great game, too.
He did. He actually had an interception again. Richard's like, he had another interception, but he passed Vince Wilfork on the all-time interception list. That's what Richard said. I don't know where he pulled the stat out. He says, Dad, you know how bad Jamal Adams is? He's got as many interceptions as Vince Wilfork has.
These sour Jet fans. Because I remember a time, if we go back to some of the earlier podcasts, El Presidente. Oh, he can hit. He's the captain. He's the leader.
He's a bum. He's a bum. Get him out of here.
Now he's a bum. And now he's a bum.
You know what, Jamal? You're right. That's unfair. You're not a bum. You're helping the Jets. So I appreciate you and all your efforts. But in all seriousness, Russell Wilson, the conspiracy theory, he's playing himself out of Seattle, giving the Seahawks front office a reason to trade him.
Why would you do this? I mean, you have your career and legacy, but you got your career and legacy on the line. I mean, the passes is so first and foremost, right? So that there's more to this than Russell wanting out.
Yeah,
right.
Because as soon as he gets traded to another team, he can say, look, I just didn't see eye to eye with Coach Carroll and the new offensive coordinator. It just wasn't working. I tried. It just wasn't working. And you know what? I need to cut ties. We just said, you know what? It's a mutual decision. We need to move on.
Yeah, I would never take a player like that sabotaged his season, I mean, look at this as the example. When we look at this last game, and I have not been watching the Seahawks religiously. I do know and follow, right, because we have to talk about it here. I watched this game, and your best receiver, probably your best receiver.
That was crazy.
No touches. The first target, no target. Forget the touches. No targets. And the first target that he gets is late in the third quarter after everybody saw him like wide open, and you still not look at him. And then, coming back to the huddle. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to say, I'm going to focus on him. And leaving people wide open in the middle of the field to overthrow this guy.
Yeah, he wailed for him. Holy cow.
Now, I'm wondering if there's something between DK and Russ.
Well, right? I think DK came out a couple of weeks ago, and don't hold me to it. I thought he came out, and he was quite vocal at one point. So I don't know if that has some lingering effects of why he's kind of been persona non grata on the offense.
But let me add to it. Not only is DK not getting targets, Lockett's not getting targets.
Yeah, you want to know how I lost in fantasy football?
You got Lockett on your team. I was all worried, but this is not the same Seahawks offense that we've seen over the last couple of years. I mean, you have two great wideouts that just get open. These guys just get open, and you're throwing to a slot receiver, a fourth wide receiver, and you're not even trying to go to your guys.
So they're missing Chris Carson.
Sure,
we're missing another running back, and
they have Alex Collins who's filling in, admirably.
They just signed Adrian Peterson to the practice squad.
I saw that. Not sure I understand it. But at the end of the day, Stevie D, it doesn't matter who you're handing the ball off to. It doesn't matter that your finger may still be sore or what have you. You make the right decision. The ball may be a little high. It may be low. It may be wide, but you're going to the right target. Going to a guy who's in triple coverage is not the right decision. Having a guy wide open, sideline or hash mark to hash mark, nobody there. Nobody in front of you for 10 yards, nobody in front of you for 10 yards. You're wide open on an island, and you miss that.
We're gonna make a. How about a little friendly wager? How about lunch delivered to the house next year? My saying is Russell Wilson will not be a Seahawk next year.
All right, you're on.
Okay. I'm going
that's only so that, that's my gift to you. I'll bequeath that gift to you because I don't think he's going to be a Seahawk next year. Pete Carroll may not be a Seahawk next year, right? If you look at what's happening over there. Maybe Pete wants to get back into college coaching the way that they're throwing money around there. His former school just signed Lincoln Riley to what, 15 million plus access to the jet, plus 2 houses, plus we're selling your house in Norman. What kind of deal is this? Right? How do I get down with that? I need to make some phone calls and start telling people, hey, phenomenal deal, right? Yep. I'm not going to talk about the former Notre Dame coach, but this does lead us to the Notre Dame job is open. There is one name that has always been linked to that job. He's in Jacksonville.
I hope he goes.
But let me ask you, did his shenanigans across the pond cost him a job in Notre Dame, in South Bend at Notre Dame?
I didn't think about that when he went partying at his. I thought it was in the bar. He went partying in Ohio.
Oh, it was Ohio. It was. That's right.
And so I didn't think about that stopping him from getting the Notre Dame job. Here's what I'll say. You think Notre Dame's really going to hold to a higher standard when it comes to their football program?
No. I think so. I think so. Notre Dame's tough, man. Notre Dame is tough. And what's difficult at Notre Dame is that they have certain standards, which is why they don't, you don't see a lot of guys really trying to get to that job, because
nobody wants it. Who
no, that's the job. That's the job you want. You play as an independent. You're always on television.
Yeah, but you can't win a national championship.
Well, that's their own fault because they don't get into a conference, right? But they somehow, they've turned the tide under Kelly. But that's the job you want. And
turn the tide with Kelly, and then when he gets into money games, he can't come close to winning a football game.
I'll give you that.
I don't know why LSU feels that all of a sudden. We'll see what he can do over there. But in big games, Brian Kelly's nowhere to be found in big games. He's falling on his face all the time. Ooh.
Yeah, but the reason why he took the Florida job, he had interviewed for this Ohio State job. That was there on the table. What ended up happening, the rub on that was the number of allowances that Notre Dame was going to give to bring in kind of the exception type player, right? And they're very strict as to who can come in and, you may get 1 or 2 allowances. And I think they had cut it down to 1. He was like, why am I going to deal with this, right? You're putting too many impediments in the way for me to be successful here. I'll go down to Florida. I could cheat to my heart's content at Florida. And then when I get done, then I could say, hey, I'm going to leave for family reasons, and then collect and then find myself, wandering around in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, and rinse and repeat in Columbus, Ohio.
Exactly. And now, he's going to tell Shad Khan, for my family, I think it's time that I leave Jacksonville and find his way to South Bend finally. I don't know. Maybe that happens. Stevie D, Christian McCaffrey. I don't know where we go with this. Don't know where we go.
Christian McCaffrey, an amazing talent, can't stay healthy, and I think he's done in Carolina. I think
you say done in Carolina. I don't know about that. Well, you have too much. You have too much invested there, and you're hoping that somehow.
I'm hoping that he's going to get on the field and dress for more than 8 games in a season, because that's all I get out of him, 7, 8 games. I'm paying him all that money for 7, 8 games. It's great, right? Another team may take a chance on him because it's a different place. But at some point, when you're trying to build a winner, can this is 3 years in a row, right? The guy's been hurt.
Sure.
Amazing talent. But can you rely on him? How if you're trying to build a championship team, you need players that you can rely on. You can't rely on players that are always hurt, and he's always hurt.
So here's the interesting thing. In back-to-back years, you've had 2 running backs that have been selected very high in the draft. I think McCaffrey went 7th. Barkley went 2nd. I believe that those were their draft positions. but in back-to-back years, and these guys have played probably a total of 20 games or 30 games combined because they're always hurt, right?
The same question's coming out on Barkley in New York.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? Are you going to bring him back next year? Are you going to pay him?
Yeah, now you get those fifth-year option questions, right? Are you going to pony up for that? And the odd thing, is it just the environment? But you get these guys that are coming out in the sixth round, getting drafted in the sixth round or seventh round. These guys are becoming workhorses, right? These guys are doing it, and the guys you expected, the guys that you invested that draft capital in, are barely seeing, a full season. Full season is an overstatement. So I don't know.
Paying them for what? Paying them for what? To be on IR for half the year? It's like I can take that money, invest it elsewhere, draft a running back in the following year in the third and fourth round or whatever. And yeah, it's not Saquon Barkley, it's not Christian McCaffrey, but at the end of the day, those talents are rare, but you got to be on the field to recoup that. And I just don't see Saquon getting a second contract with the Giants, and I don't see Christian McCaffrey living out the existing contract. And I wouldn't be surprised if they moved on from him at the end of the season.
He can come into Buffalo. I don't have a problem.
Four games.
No. Well, then we'll see. We'll save him for the playoffs and the exhibition game. Again, all right. I had to explain. I explained the whole premise behind the exhibition game. I said, take my team out of it, and I explained everything. You know what I got back? That makes a lot of sense. I was like, exactly.
Try and explain that to your 3-year-old neighbor. Okay, he's gonna think it makes sense.
Wait, did I have FaceTime going when I was doing this? Did you see this? Because I had the bobblehead.
By the way, the kid was wearing a Buffalo jersey too, right? So
it has nothing to do with Buffalo. It has nothing to do with Buffalo. I'm going to add that to rules of being the fan. I'm going to put that out there.
No. You can't modify the rule of being a fan. The question is, if you had one of the silver Lombardi trophies like the Jets have in the display case, even though ours is very tarnished because it's very old,
I can't even see it with all the dust. So what are you talking about?
Dust and tarnish. I don't even know what it looks like in that case anymore. But
did you even bring the case
because you haven't won one?
Did you bring the case when you moved from New York? Or did New York say, no, this has got to stay here in New York? You can take everything else.
Wow. City Hall says you can't leave. You can't take these hours. But is it a team that has not won one? It's easier to say it's an exhibition game because you haven't won one.
It has nothing to do with it. That's why I keep trying to tell you, it has nothing to do with it. 2 national anthems. You have a fireworks show. You have a stage set up all before the game. This is just before the game. There's still smoke coming up from the stadium, and you can barely see during the kickoff.
You're saying the championship game is the actual Super Bowl, right? Because you want to get credit for winning 4 of those in a row.
No, I'm not.
4 of those.
I'm not calling the championship game I'm not going to say the S word. I'm not going to call it that. It is what it is. It's a championship game. But if you look at the playoffs, whether it be wild card, whether it be divisional, whether it be the championship, you don't get these theatrics, right? You get the flyover because they pay for it, but you get the flyover and that's it, right? Then you get the national anthem and let's go.
So if Buffalo somehow, with a miracle, wins the Super Bowl this year, the first time in their history, you're not going to say, I'll make a big deal about it? You're not going to buy any memorabilia that says Super Bowl on it?
I'll say we won the exhibition game.
No.
I will be on this show saying that we won the exhibition game. You better believe it. Now we're 0-4 in the exhibition games, but it is an exhibition game.
I'm not believing it. Sorry.
I am going to start a campaign, right? Just like they did with McRib. I'm starting a campaign. First of all, Roger says you can't use the term Super Bowl, right? That's Roger. He started this. Don't blame me. Blame Roger. That's your boy. Blame him. He says, oh, no, nobody can use the term Super Bowl.
He's not my boy. He's the one who burnt the Spygate tapes. He's not my boy.
But that's all well and good. You say we can't use that? Then fine. We're going to call it what it is. We're going to call it an exhibition game. That's your boy. And these thoughts, concerns, and feelings are strictly that of Vince Coles and not OWSports.net. All right, Stevie D. That's going to wrap this one up. Always good chatting with you. Always good taking digs at the Jets. But, I had fun with that. We'll see.
Too much fun with that.
Yeah, I miss it. I didn't get it last week, right? You were out doing some reconnaissance work. We saw where you were, in the total clean room. Something was going on. I don't know what exactly was happening, but something was going on. I want to know. But, yeah, this is going to wrap it up for, all of our fans and listeners and, viewers to the podcast. Please give us a like, give us a subscribe. You can catch us on YouTube, obviously on Facebook. We're doing some rework, some tinkering with the website. So we're going to rebrand and move the website from its landing page. So that's going to be some fun stuff. We're also looking to have some folks from some other teams potentially join the podcast, which will be interesting as well. Maybe people strictly from the AFC East and really have a throwdown, right? 4 come in, 1 comes out, right? Kind of flex on them like that. You know how we do. But, we're going to have that. But a lot of changes. We're having a lot of fun, and we want you guys to enjoy it. Again, if you just want to listen to the audio version, just look for your favorite podcasting platform. You'll find us out there. You can find us for Official Word Sports, or now looking at OWSports, and of course the website OWSports.net. But yeah, send us some feedback, send us some comments if there's any show topics you want us to talk about. Before I wrap this up, Stevie D. So my boy Lamar oftentimes comes on and makes some statements. So I get a call from him. Yo, I'm ready. Ready for what? He said, I'm ready to go on. Bring me on. Live from the basement, from the sneaker shack. And I'm like, that's not a sneaker shack. That is Foot Locker in your basement.
That's ridiculous. Those photos are ridiculous. Unbelievable collection.
So in the coming weeks, I think we'll make some accommodations, bring Lamar on. We're probably going to have to break that one into 2 different shows, right? The
PG version and
yes,
MA-17.
Yes, I think we're gonna have to break that one up. So, all right, listen, for my co-host Stevie D, I'm Vince. We'll talk to you soon.